Welcome to the Daily Review. This is Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CM Trading. Welcome to August, everybody. Today is August 1st, 2025. So looking at the highlights of the day, US dollar continues to strengthen across the board versus the major pairs, including the euro, the GBP, and the Japanese yen. But first, looking at today's major economic events, so we have a 2:30 South African time from the United States, an NFP non-farm payroll number coming out. In addition, we have corporate earnings for the largest oil companies in the world, including ExxonMobil and Chevron. So let's break down the markets. So looking at the Forex symbols, we see the US dollar gaining. Looking at the indices, the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ both retreating lower. Now looking at commodities, oil dips below $70 a barrel. And looking at the stocks, really mixed. There's some weak, some weaker, and a few strong stocks. And lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin finally breaking, and this time it's to the downside. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go with the Euro USD. It's one of the leading pack. It's not the weakest pair versus the US dollar, but we would have expected this to even bounce a little bit higher than this. Okay, if we look at a daily chart first, okay, you see that there's like a slight bounce. It didn't bounce, and that might indicate that it's going to sell off even more. Now, I would have expected a 50-point bounce, but it didn't get it. Okay, so right now, this can continuously sell off. Now, it is a supportish level, so I'll keep an eye on this. Now, versus the GBP has been weaker versus the dollar than the euro has been versus the dollar. Okay, and sure enough, it did not get a bounce. Okay, and we're selling off here. Okay, now the next real supportish level, we're just above it right here. We're at 131.90. Next real supportish is 131.60, 131-ish level. Okay, so we are entering that area where it's supportish level. So I'd like to see how this goes. Now looking at the Japanese yen on the opposite side, and this is super important because we're starting with a weekly chart, and it broke above the 30-day moving average. That's that blue line over there on the screen. And so this potentially can still retrace at these levels. But again, it's breaking higher, okay, and multiple time frames. And if we look at a daily chart, it's above that 200-day moving average. So that's super important as well. Now, let's take a look at the commodities. So crude oil did taper lower here, okay, and we do have ExxonMobil and Chevron coming out with their quarterly earning reports. I don't expect any surprises there. They generally keep things in flow. They're a profitable company from month to month, quarter to quarter, year to year. Okay, as long as they're paying their distribution, they're okay. Okay, so we are trading just below $70 a barrel. Now we are at supportish levels, so keep that in mind, and we may bounce off of this level. Now looking at gold, really just at the bottom of its trading range. Okay, nothing really to write home about. You could pick up maybe a little bit here in the anticipation it's going to bounce from here. Okay, but no big trade, jumping out at me. Now looking at the NASDAQ, we did sell off. After hitting all-time record highs, Microsoft and Meta beating their earnings, making new record highs, they sold off intraday, and sure enough, so did the NASDAQ as well. Now looking at the Dow Jones, it sold off more aggressively. Now I want to make this really clear. The Dow Jones didn't make new record highs. That's number one. Number two, it made a quadruple top. Okay, so if you look at a weekly chart, it is a bona fide top here. Bona fide. That means that we should see some sell-off coming in the next couple of months. Okay, when it comes to the Dow Jones, that's what I'd be checking to get that confirmation from the stocks first. But that's my initial observation of the markets right now. Now looking at the stocks, okay, so let's take a look at Microsoft. That gapped up huge after it came out with that quarterly earning reports, but intraday it sold off. Now it might just fill in the gap for another go on the upside. It could be that that's going to be the case, but I'm going to be looking at that. JP Morgan just selling off of its all-time record highs of $300 a share. And looking at Facebook also, it had that gap up. You could barely see it. Oh my gosh. You had that gap up, but it sold off just slightly. So I'm inclined to say that Meta's a little bit stronger, okay, with more solidity when it comes to its revenue growth. Now looking at Tesla, it was also just a little bit lower in intraday, okay, as it sold off as well, as it's pretty much just leveled off around this area. Now Amazon and Apple came out with their quarterly earning reports. Apple did better than Amazon, but intraday it's not going to reflect here because it was after market trading. Okay, so keep that in mind that we did sell off just a little bit on Amazon, where I'm a little bit surprised that we didn't sell off even more. All right, so let's take a look lastly at AMD, sold off as well, and this was one of the rock stars that made the markets even go higher. Okay, if we look at a weekly chart, it still has some room to go up, but it looks like it's hitting resistance level at these levels, and Nvidia also sold off as well after hitting all-time record highs at 180. Now lastly, looking at Bitcoin. Okay, we're first looking at a daily chart of Bitcoin. It's breaking a 30-day moving average. That's the highlight of looking at a daily, but I want to see a 4-hour chart. You can see it flatlined anywhere between 117 120-ish level, pretty much flatlined, but finally breaking that 116-ish level, and now we're at 114-ish level. Now the next real supportish level is 111. So keep that in mind. We're still in a trading range, okay, albeit that we're on the bottom of the trading range, but it did cross over the 30-day moving average, so I'm a little bit hesitant there. So let's see if it gets that bounce. If not, it might go even lower. This is Fed Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.
My advice, this is the best time to trade.